have 4 different YouTube channels up right now. New York Post. Again, I don't know how credible all these people are. New York Post, Status Quo News, The National Desk, and Money Control. And right now we have audio from the Status Quo. If you do not want to listen to any chanting, just mute the thing. I don't know what to tell you.
Let's 1 second, everybody. Gonna put the mic.
Hey, it is Ashley Bishop with Status Quo. If you've been watching the live stream, you'll know that John Farina and I have been on the ground in New York City covering the anti-ICE protest. We are going to sign off for the night. If you have not yet watched Tina Burns' coverage from the protests in LA over this past weekend, please do give it a watch. She did an excellent job. She herself tear gassed. So don't let her hard work go to waste. Please do give it a watch. She really did do some excellent coverage. We are going to continue covering the anti-ICE protests on both coasts for you guys. In order to do that, we do need your support. So if you are not already a member of Status Quo, please do join us at statusquo.com/join. It doesn't cost much to join us. You can do it for as little as $5 a month or 60 cents a day. So again, it does cost us to do these things, to keep covering all of these events on the ground, which we want to continue doing. As you can see, there's no corporate media out there. It's just us. So please do support us in our efforts to bring you what's actually going on the ground in New York City and LA, all over the country. So yeah, we are going to sign off for the night. Thank you for following us on the live stream.
Looks like I gotta find a new fucking channel.
Protests that are going on all around the country.
I don't dare put Hassan's channel on here because I'll probably get fucking kicked off of YouTube for the whole fucking time I was recording that, so. Oh, do I dare?
Got safety protocols? Grainger has the safety pros to call.
Grainger.
It is amazing that so many people came out here in a peaceful, compassionate, strong movement to fight for workers' rights, but to also defend our principles. The Constitution says we have the right to free speech and to protest. And I will say that all of us have to be united around that. And let's continue to fight. Si se puede. Let's go on. Let's make sure that David Huerta hears us and that he is free and no more ICE in LA City or LA County. Woo! Gracias.
Boo! Oh, okay. Now it's working.
Brothers and sisters, I want you all to raise your hands like this because this is V for victory. We will win. 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 Brothers and sisters, USWW was formed.
Don't judge me. I'm using white straight out the tube. I know. It's frowned upon.
The immigrant sentiment in this state took to the streets and demanded a union. After this country invaded El Salvador and Nicaragua and Guatemala and created economic chaos in Mexico, immigrants came here and formed a union. And they were met with repression in Century City. And in that day, the
CNBC TV 18 is the audio that I have right now. David Huerta talking.
Justice for janitors!
Sí, señor!
Justice for janitors!
Sí, señor!
Justice for janitors!
Sí, señor!
The streets of LA saw the blood and sweat and tears of janitors. But today, we stand as one, and we're gonna get our president back. We're gonna get our fucking president back.
Hell yeah, bruh.
Trump, you can have a
Drop
president.
all the
He's
fucking
our
F-bombs.
president's gonna be here in the streets with us. Is that right? So today, brothers and sisters, our members who are here today, send a strong message of solidarity. They're rounding us up. This didn't start on Friday with David. It started since this man who's in the office.
Why they had to cut the camera like that, though? Whoa. Too small. Let's see what else we got on here. Come on, YouTube. What's this?
Power is his inheritance, and he
Oh, advertisement. Advertising.
Your home equity could help you find a way out. And it might be easier than
Can
you
it
think.
help me
You
find a
may
way
have
out
been
of
told it's
hell?
not.
I don't want that fucking camera. Yeah, I genuinely love how people can literally do absolutely nothing. Even if they say something to these fucking officers, they're like instantly triggered. And then they have to react. I think this is just a compilation of footage because I saw that yesterday. Give me relevant things. Do I want to click on anything that's Fox related? Supposedly this is live. Fox 7 Austin is what this is. so that I'm confused. This is Fox and Northern Media. So this is in Texas? Also? Okay.
Like you said, everyone's just pulling more and more people more into all these tagger crews are just tagging the shit out of stuff. You see them all on the wall and stuff. And see, they're at the point now they're not even seeing the problem is they're not even saying fuck off. No,
I apologize to anyone that talks in the messenger thing because I am just not fucking paying attention. Not even remotely.
Yeah, but it might be cars. Yeah. Well, maybe it's our buddy here, like, fucking down it. Something rubber, something else. Yeah, like on a micro or something. Look, there's someone juggling. It's fine. Yeah, there you go. How many donuts is that going to do? Two. Two? Two not good ones. So do you know the Marines showing up?
We haven't seen them.
Not here, they're here, they're not here. I asked you if they're going to
There's not much happening right now with protest. They're kind of just sedentary, which is good. That's what we want. We want a peaceful thing and stuff. I've seen this already, but I would bet the majority
I
of
have
people
been using the
Ah!
GLP-1 injections through
Why are you so
for
loud?
months. I have lost 30.
Laws. We have to go by the laws. We can't move in the National Guard.
Good morning. We've already seen a large growing National Guard presence here in downtown LA. If you take a look behind me here, you can see troops are stationed along Alameda Street as another protest is expected to take place later today near City Hall. After hours of standing off this
She
situation,
said taste
now
place.
rapidly deteriorating. The
Delicious
LAPD moving in on horseback,
protest.
firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA.
Yeah. Motherfucker shot her directly in her calf.
I know what you're thinking. With an already tense situation in Los Angeles, what we really need is our current leader to share some more truth social posts on the situation. Or just to solidify it as an even more precarious event in which international journalists are being shot with rubber bullets.
Good morning. We begin with developing news out of Los Angeles, where tensions have reached boiling point. Tear gas and rubber bullets fired as protesters clash with police over immigration raids. Straight to US correspondent Lauren Tomasi. Lauren, what's the latest as we come to you?
That's right. Australian political leaders are seeking a, quote, urgent explanation after dramatic footage emerged of one of their own being shot by police with a rubber bullet in Los Angeles. 9 News reporter Lauren Tomasi was hit while covering a protest following ICE raids that have taken place across the city.
Today, things have been relatively on and off, a little bit of moments of chaos, but then it was unclear what exactly sparked this big movement from police. They came through.
What sparked it? They don't give a fuck. That's what sparked it.
Firing those flashbang grenades and moving through.
And Hitler's sweet potato.
After hours of standing off, this situation has now rapidly deteriorated. The LAPD moving in on horseback, firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA.
Thank you.
Yeah, Lauren, these are incredible scenes that we're seeing at the moment. It has now entered.
I'm surprised that I can
I know you and your
make these types of things,
in some of the crossfire earlier.
considering the current events that are going on. It's hard for me to imagine this up. while all this shit is happening.
It definitely feels that way. And, you know, we can see vehicles on fire. There have been at least 3 cars that have been set alight by protesters. This is now day 3, and certainly the evenings have been getting a little more out of hand. But what we have been seeing in the past 90 minutes or so is by far and away the most significant escalation here on the ground. I'm going to stay here a little bit further away from these police because they have been firing a lot of tear gas. It has been so heavy in the air, but even so, it just doesn't seem to be deterring these protesters. That's one of those flashbang grenades. They're being let off in an effort to try and deter these protesters, but I keep seeing fireworks in the distance as well. Protesters are lobbing things back at these officers. It really is kind of a mix of the LAPD, these riot police, and then of course we've seen those soldiers on the ground here in Los Angeles. The National Guard, there are at least 300 deployed by the Donald Trump administration. The US president ordering in those National Guardsmen and putting them under federal service.
And while some outlets have covered it as reporter caught in the crossfire, anyone, you know, with a set of eyes that aren't looking through orange-tinted glasses could see that's not exactly the case. It's a clear example of unprovoked aggression, which, yeah, we've seen across the board. In a strong statement, Greens Senator Sarah Hanson-Young called on Mr. Albanese, the Aussie Prime Minister, to hold the US President accountable, saying, quote, US authorities shooting an Australian journalist is simply shocking. Before going on to add, freedom of the press is a fundamental pillar of a strong functioning democracy. Yeah, a message that should be on the front page of every major outlet across the United States, especially with our fearless leader waging a war on the First Amendment. Hell bent on collapsing that very pillar.
Becoming arrested. Should he do it?
God, that sounds fucking awful. Jesus. Stop. Stop right now. People are still being peaceful. I'm just saying.
To call in the National Guard. When he held off calling
you
in the
see any sort of fucking gas or flames, it's not because of people that are protesting. I have literally been watching since all this shit started.
And think about how Trump was unwilling to bring in the troops then. He never called in active duty troops. I had a friend of mine from the Marines with the FBI literally sitting on a Blackhawk waiting to come up. And the president wouldn't let him go to save the lives of cops, to save the lives of his own vice president and other elected officials who these protesters, who these insurrectionists were trying to hang. So it's kind of amazing that Trump wants to do this in LA, and it's pretty obvious because he's always dreamed of politicizing the military and using it against what he sees as the left in America.
It can also be true that everything that's happened in the last 7 days between the fight with Elon Musk and now the deployment of the National Guard is probably also a distraction from the main story, which is that right now Donald Trump is trying to pass probably the most unpopular piece of legislation that he will attempt to move through Congress in his first term. He's going to throw 15 million people off their health care in order to fund a massive tax cut for the wealthy. It's going to add $2 trillion to our deficit. We're probably going to head into a recession. And so I do also think he's probably doing everything he can to try to get the entire political world to be talking about anything other than a piece of legislation that's going to fundamentally change this country. So yeah, we have to point out the danger of what he's proposing to do in Los Angeles while also keeping our eye on the ball, which is a bill that's going to transform our economy and ruin a lot of lives.
Echoing the condemnation from Australian leaders was Gavin Newsom, who had this to say on the situation.
We talked about this is in some measure about immigration, in some measure it's about democracy. Do you believe, some people have said that this is an attempt at distraction from maybe the matters with Elon Musk back in Washington? You know, why did this happen now, in other words?
Well, I mean, he's a master of distraction. He's the commander of chaos. That's what Donald Trump does. He moves this
The
direction, moves that
Charmander of
direction. I mean,
chaos.
This guy's 90 days, 90 deals.
Literally.
How many deals? Zero.
Dude is
Okay,
orange.
give me a break. I mean, Elon Musk is the sycophant of sycophants as it relates to this love relationship that he had with the president of the United States. Said it exactly right. We're likely to enter a recession the second half of the year because of the recklessness of this tariff policy under this administration. He's just saddled our kids and grandkids with $2.5 trillion of debt to get billionaires and corporations a tax break that they're not even asking for. Of course he's trying to distract us.
He has come out demanding that Donald Trump withdraw the National Guard.
Why did they do that guy like that? He was just like, yeah.
Sunday, the protests
Come on,
had
don't do him like
mostly
that. That was
dissipated,
mean.
and streets were mostly quiet and calm. Since Trump announced his plan to deploy troops, the situation on the ground has escalated quickly, with unrest growing overnight, causing highways to close.
Gee,
and
I wonder
putting
why.
people in danger.
I wonder why,
This
because you're
wasn't
fucking
the case on
kidnapping
Saturday
people's
or
neighbors
Sunday
and
morning.
innocent
This
people.
was not
I wonder why there's
inevitable.
unrest.
We'll never know what might have been had the president left our state and local authorities to continue the important work they were already doing and were more than capable of doing. What we do know is that what we saw yesterday happened after the president's unnecessary, counterproductive, and most importantly, unlawful order.
Which, judging by this video, appears to be the case.
About is that, Donald Trump only cares about protests when they're opposing him. Every single day, we should be reminding the American public that there were protesters at the Capitol fighting for Donald Trump to install him in power permanently on January 6th of 2021, who beat the hell out of police officers.
Yep,
with
don't
metal
fucking ever
pills and
forget it.
tasers
That was
out
not a
on the
peaceful
streets
fucking
today.
protest.
So Donald Trump only cares about quelling violent protest or quelling protest writ large when it's protest against him. That's fundamentally undemocratic. And it's frankly an invitation for more violence on the streets. The message is simply, if you're violent in service of a Republican cause, you'll get a get out of jail free card. But if you're engaged in protest against the administration, well, then we're sending in the National Guard.
Oh, and also they can wear masks, but you can't.
Instagram.
Because that's illegal and you're gonna get arrested. But they won't be. What the fuck? What in the actual fuck?
Let us help with the cost of your prescriptions. You enjoy time with your
I'll be
family.
damned if somebody pulls my fucking mask off my face. I'll be damned.
All right, y'all, welcome to the show. Holy cow, is it going to be a wild ride today? So, of course, LA is exploding. It's a war zone. You have reporters getting shot. You have chaos and anarchy in the streets. I'm going to walk you through all that. I have 1,000 videos for you on that. After that, we'll get to Trump issuing a dire warning to Elon Musk. We have Joe Rogan squirming as Elon unleashes on Trump. We have an ABC reporter who was censored and suspended for telling the truth about Stephen Miller. We have proof that Donald Trump is indeed in the Epstein files. J.D. Vance lies directly to Theo Vaughn's face.
Doe
We have a total
174.
meltdown among MAGA watching their two daddies fight. They are coping and seething over the Trump-Elon breakup. And then we also have a bombshell report on the Gaza aid flotilla, which was seized by the IDF. Greta Thunberg has officially been kidnapped, being held hostage
Yeah, that
by
shit
the
is
IDF.
fucking wild.
So we got so much going on, man. It is going to be a crazy, crazy show. So everybody, you know the drill. Please do me a huge favor. Subscribe to the channel. That's below. That helps out massively and costs you nothing at all. And thank you to everybody who supports the show on Patreon. That link is below as well. As you all know, we couldn't do this show without you guys. We're real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser. I've never done an ad read. So please consider supporting the show. $2 a month, $5 a month, whatever it may be. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into it. We got a lot of stuff to get to. So just to catch everybody up real quick.
I'm gonna go
and we
wash
covered
my
this the other
hands.
day in a breaking news story, but you had these massive ICE raids happening across the country, but particularly there was also a bunch of them happening in Los Angeles. And because of those ICE raids and the rounding up of innocent people, the detaining of innocent people, the attempt to deport innocent people, basically the powder keg exploded, and you had these massive anti-ICE protests that broke out. So, in response to that, after literally just a day or two of protests, and by the way, at the time, no violence whatsoever, Trump decided, I'm going to invoke the Insurrection Act, I'm going to federalize the California National Guard, which is effectively taking them from Gavin Newsom, and I'm going to deploy them in the streets of LA. And then beyond that, you have Pete Hegseth and Trump now threatening, we may also send in the Marines to crack down on American citizens. Okay, so this is a huge deal. This is the whole ball game. Doing the Insurrection Act, invoking martial law. At the same time, he's got his fascist military parade coming up on June 14th in about a week. At the same time, we learn about how Palantir is creating a mass surveillance blackmail database where they take facts about all Americans and put them in one single file so they have all the dirt on you they need. This is all happening at once. It's all happening super quickly. So I'm going to show you the videos from last night, which are absolutely chaotic. They are insane. We got wild stuff happening. But before we do that, let's catch up here as to what was the chain of events that led us to where we are. Here we go.
The mainstream media is not telling us the truth about what's happening in California, so here it is. California Governor Gavin Newsom put out a tweet saying the federal government is taking over the California National Guard and deploying 2,000 soldiers in Los Angeles. Not because there's a shortage of law enforcement, but because they want a spectacle. In Los Angeles, there have been mass raids going on for days now where ICE is going in trying to raid communities to try to round up people who are law-abiding citizens in this country to try to deport them. But there have been mass Defend Immigrant Family protests going on to make sure that they stop ICE. These protests have largely been peaceful, and anytime you've seen any escalation, it's been from the ICE agents themselves. In this clip, you'll clearly see that the police are the ones that are agitating and pushing people.
By the way, to that point, I got a message from a friend of the show. I've known this guy for a very long time, and he said he was at one of these LA protests, and the protesters were all being perfectly peaceful, and then the cops started shooting tear gas directly into the crowd. So that seems to me to be validation of the idea that it's all the people decked out in military gear with weapons who, in many instances, are the ones firing the first shots.
In this clip, you clearly see the people are peacefully organizing and literally shaming the ICE agents out of the community. As a political commentator, it's literally my motherfucking obligation to make sure that I'm corroborating shit, because a lot of people in the comment section are going to come through and say, well, oh, you're picking and choosing specific videos to show a specific narrative. False. Literal news release from the Los Angeles Police Department themselves came out and said today's demonstrations across the city of Los Angeles remain peaceful, and we commend all those who exercise their First Amendment rights responsibly. The Los Angeles Police Department appreciates the cooperation of organizers, participants, and community partners who helped ensure public safety throughout the day. So even the Los Angeles Police Department is coming out and saying that everything has been peaceful all throughout the day.
That is a wild fact. That the LAPD was basically saying, look, we don't need the National Guard. We don't need the Marines. We don't need anything. Okay? Like, if anything, that's going to inflame tensions and make it worse. Basically, get the fuck out of our way and let us do our jobs. All right, here we go.
Here comes Donald Trump's orange ass, who, by the way, is still looking for distractions to not have us talk about the fact that Elon Musk said that he was in the Epstein files. He's over here escalating the situation in Los Angeles by putting out a presidential memorandum. This memorandum, he says numerous incidents of violence and disorder have recently occurred and threatened to continue in response to the enforcement of ICE. Literally none of this is true. I just showed that the Los Angeles Police Department said not only do they have this shit handled, but everything has remained peaceful. With this memorandum, he's basically taking over the California National Guard and deploying 2,000 soldiers in Los Angeles for fucking nothing. Not only that, but then got Pete Hegseth, who's the Secretary of the Department of Defense, put out a tweet that basically says the Department of Defense is mobilizing the National Guard immediately to support federal law enforcement in Los Angeles. And if violence continues, active duty Marines at Camp Pendleton will also be mobilized. They are on high alert. High alert for what they're calling a violent mob assault on ICE, which is, again, a false fucking flag. None of it is true. Not only have they activated National Guard and have Marines at hand, they're also bringing in military equipment and ammunition into the community. Black Hawk helicopter, which is a military helicopter, moved in from the Border Patrol. They are unloading dozens of boxes of ammunition, lethal weaponry, and you see tanks with flammable labels on the side, as if they were getting ready for major battle. While he's militarizing police, escalating tensions in Los Angeles, also that he can get another story out there other than he's in the Epstein files. While all of this is happening, this motherfucker's at UFC making an entrance with Dana White and shit. All of this is a fucking spectacle. All of this is a distraction, and I need us to be focused and toned in. California, the world is watching.
And Gavin Newsom had released a statement literally warning, look, if you send in the National Guard, that will lead to more violence in the streets, more chaos. that will inflame the tensions that you're pretending you want to tamp down. So look, he wanted any flimsy excuse he could get whatsoever to try to go full fascist, full authoritarian, full dictator, full tyrant, and it looks like that's exactly what he's doing right now. So by the way, shout out to Brian Baez for this video. He's over on TikTok. You can check him out. But let me set the table some more for you. So when we talk about ICE and what they've been doing, I mean, guys, the horror stories are endless. So look at this one. Snatched in plain sight. Congress, where are you on this? Plain clothes, no identification, unmarked cars with everyday plates. Anyone can throw on regular clothes, flash a fake badge, and claim to be ICE. The way they're operating is reckless and dangerous. So this has been a huge problem. You have ICE officers dressing like gangsters, dressing like thugs, covering their faces in plain clothes with plain license plates on their vehicles, and they've been, riding up on people and just snatching them off the streets, kidnapping them, abducting them, human trafficking them to Lord knows where. So here's just one example of many examples. By the way, at the same time, we also learn there's a lot of ICE officers who have literal Nazi tattoos that are clearly visible on their arms. They've been deputizing a lot of Proud Boy-like motherfuckers, a lot of far-right white nationalist-like motherfuckers to be these ICE agents. All right, here we go. I don't know if you heard, but they keep asking, where are you taking them? Where are you taking them? Where's your badge? What's going on? No response. For the record, the reason they're wearing masks is because they know what they're doing is illegal. The ICE officers know that. That's why they're covering their face and hiding their identities.
Pussy! Pussy ass bitches.
Now, by the way, a lot of these videos I'm going to show you, some of them are from LA, some of them are not. This is just what ICE has been doing all around the country leading up to this. Okay, more. ICE has just raided a restaurant and bar in Charleston, South Carolina. It looks more like the military raided it, people are saying. Here we go. Here's the video of this one. Look at this. Insane. All right, more. Note that these clashes occurred after ICE explicitly began carrying out worksite raids and arresting people at court hearing and check-ins. Explicitly people who are not criminals. In fact, this happened because Stephen Miller screamed at ICE to stop going after criminals. More. A Trump regime trooper pulls out a weapon and aims it at an unarmed U.S. civilian as ICE kidnaps a victim in Memphis. So this one here's from Memphis, Tennessee. Watch this.
Unmarked fucking cars. Amazon having ass fucking vests.
At a concerned wife saying, he's not a criminal. He's not a criminal. One more time. Watch this.
Points. Wow.
I'm sure
Pussy.
That's not proper protocol. You have a distraught wife and you point your gun at her.
Right.
And this guy's face is showing too, by the way.
Good. I'm glad. He just fucking doxed
Jesus
himself.
Christ. More. Here's a Los Angeles school worker who shares frustration over parents having to leave their children's graduation ceremony because ICE raided an elementary school's graduation today. Watch this.
Can't handle this, y'all.
I could not.
This is crazy, y'all. I didn't think this was about to affect me like this. But, our neighbor's school, y'all know I work at a school. Fuck. Our neighbor in school, I think it's Gratas, I don't know how to say it. It's Gratas or something like that. They were having their graduation. And there's helicopters in the sky. Most of these schools are... Fuck, yo.
Oh my god.
Most of these schools are predominantly Hispanic. Most of these schools are predominantly Hispanic. Gratas, I believe elementary, was having their graduation. And all of a sudden, a bunch of parents have to run out because ISIS is there. This is the story that I'm hearing. And, you know, our school goes on lockdown. Our principal, you know, tells us it's a drill, but we know it's not a drill.
This is shit that fucking scares me.
You know, I had to
Why are you
check
going
my
into
grades.
schools?
Got like off of a soft
The
lockdown.
fuck?
And you know, parents had to run out because they don't have papers, and they had to leave their kids because the kids do. What type of shit is this, yo? And then kids are freaking grabbing teachers and crying on their leg because they don't know if they're about to see their parents when they get home. What the fuck is this? And we voted for this shit?
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Rating school graduations. All right, so this one. A friend of an Ecuadorian female detainee in ICE custody shares she was taken without notice, leaving her 5-year-old child alone in school and had to be picked up by a nanny.
What the
woman
fuck?
suffers from cancer, and ICE is preventing her from getting her cancer medication. This is just one of literally over 100,000 stories like this happening in real time. ICE detained a U.S. Marshal because he, quote, fit the general description of a subject. Basically, they racially profiled their own kind, and this was an article from NBC News. ICE agents mistakenly detained U.S. Marshal in Arizona. The deputy marshal was detained because he fit the general description of a subject being sought by ICE, according to the U.S. Marshals Service. The idea at this late date, oh, don't worry, they're only going after undocumented immigrant violent criminals to keep the community safe. That is a lie. Everybody knows that's a lie. We have evidence piled as high as Mount Everest proving they're going after countless innocent people. Here's another one. Trump regime ICE forces assaulted and kidnapped a mother on her way to pick up her children from school. This is what they are doing all over the country. More. Here we go.
No, that is so fucking dirty. Yeah, whatever fucking hell these motherfuckers believe in,
Absolutely.
y'all are there.
Chaos
You're going
erupts
there.
at the U.S. federal courthouse in New York City as ICE detains a man just moments after his immigration case is dismissed.
Wait a minute. Jesus.
When you do this,
what the fuck,
actual
dude?
rule of law breaks down in the country because now the message you're sending is, hey, if you're an immigrant, even if you're a legal immigrant, do not go to any check-ins, do not go to any court dates. Because if you do, they're going to snatch your ass there, even if the judge says, hey, you're good, you're free to go, you're fine. This leads to the breakdown of law and order. And by the way, who are the real criminals in this scenario? Flagrantly violating court orders, ignoring the law. This is absolute gangster, thug, mafia, fascist shit, and we're watching it in real time. Many undocumented immigrants who went to ICE check-in appointments at a federal building in LA this week were taken into custody, brought to the basement, and held there, lawyers and family members say. So again, following the rules, following the process, following the law, getting snatched up anyway. That's what's happening. Gee, I wonder why people snapped and why there's thousands of people in the streets now. So here's the acting ICE director who's responding to political rhetoric causing anti-ICE sentiment. Here's what he says. Listen to this. This is incredible.
And agents walk into danger so other people can sleep safely at night. So kids can make it to school safely and play outside.
Think about what he just said. We do our job so kids can make it to school safely and on time. No, you are snatching the innocent parents from those kids. And they don't know if they'll ever get to see their parents again.
Well, it's easy to be an armchair quarterback and make up talking points that get activists riled up. The bottom line is my officers and agents are out there protecting the same people who are threatening their safety. Law enforcement's common sense. Politicians need to stop putting my people in danger. I'm not asking them to stop. I'm demanding that they stop.
Excuse you? Have you heard of the Constitution? Have you heard of the First Amendment? Have you heard of freedom of speech? Have you heard about telling the truth? Explaining the facts on the ground of what's actually happening? These motherfuckers have some nerve. Holy shit. This is the most anti-American shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
Here's what I have to say to Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, and anyone else stirring up the outrage about what ICE does. These are real people with real families you're hurting with your ridiculous rhetoric and inflammatory comments.
Excuse
and it's time to remember that.
So in other words, you're not allowed to disagree. You're not allowed to tell the truth about what they're doing. Because if you do that, oh, you hurt their feelings.
Right.
And their feelings are more important to them than the rights of the people.
I thought
in
they
this
were the ones that
country.
say facts
Stephen
don't care
Miller has
about
set
your
his sights on
feelings.
new targets to find undocumented migrants.
Huh.
Home Depot and 7-Eleven. So we talked about this briefly before, but Stephen Miller had a meeting with DHS officials and ICE officials, and he reamed them and he screamed at them, "Hey, why are you not deporting more people? We want 3,000 deportations a day, minimum 1,200. I want you to go to Home Depots. I want you to go to 7-Elevens. I want you to go to hair salons. I want you to raid graduations." He's the one who's steering this ship every step of the way. He's the one who's now leading to the mass chaos and breakdown of law and order in this country because his ICE fascist thugs are violating the law on a regular basis and ruining lives on a regular basis. Look at this fact, y'all. ICE arrests under Trump top 100,000 as officials expand aggressive efforts to detain migrants. Ladies and gentlemen, let me explain something to you. When it comes to both documented immigrants and undocumented immigrants, both of those groups objectively, factually commit fewer crimes compared to native-born American citizens.
Correct.
That's a fact.
Correct.
So when you crunch the numbers on this, by the way, you know what percentage of immigrants are violent criminals? Less than 1%. You know what the raw number is? About 10,000 or fewer of the immigrants in this country are violent criminals. Think of what I just said. The raw number is 10,000 or less. There's been over 100,000 arrests. That means you have minimum 90,000 innocent people who are being fucked with, who are being screwed with, whose lives are being upended for nothing but a bigoted, xenophobic, idiotic, racist, mafia, fascist policy being implemented by the Trump regime here. Everybody needs to keep their wits about them in this moment. Look at this. Robert Scavarla says the following. Be cognizant of information warfare. The Trump administration will use influencers to spread disinformation so they can create sufficient outrage to justify violence. They're already reviving old conspiracy theories about Antifa. So here's one MAGA hack influencer. I've discovered pallets of cement bricks within striking distance of the ICE agents. There's no other pallets around. Some are in the back of the gate, but these are in front of the gate. I'm told protesters use these cement bricks to throw at ICE agents in Paramount, California.
Nobody's
this is what
doing
our
that.
cops are up against. Organized looters strategically
Literally
placing
nobody is doing
caches
that.
of bricks and rocks
The cops
at
were
locations
fucking
throughout
sending
New
their
York City.
fucking flash grenades into
Look at
trash
this.
cans and
They're
setting
trying
them on
to
fire.
Re-justify the state cracking skulls and harming people and killing people. Governor Gavin Newsom said the following: I have formally requested the Trump administration rescind their unlawful deployment of troops in Los Angeles County and return them to my command. We didn't have a problem until Trump got involved. This is a serious breach of state sovereignty, inflaming tensions while pulling resources from where they're actually needed. Rescind the order, return control to California. Gavin Newsom went on to sue the Trump regime. They already filed a lawsuit saying that the statutory authority that the Trump regime used in order to steal the California National Guard, that they disregarded another part of the law which says you need approval from the governor in order to do that. They're saying the law that you're using in this moment, you're not actually going by the literal text of the law. And so you have a misinterpretation of the law, and you're using that to do an authoritarian overreach. He was also on TV, he went on MSNBC, and Tom Homan threatened to arrest Gavin Newsom. And he's like, come arrest me. Come get me. Come get me. Stop trying to round up innocent 4-year-olds like they rounded up a 4-year-old American citizen with cancer and deported them without any medicine whatsoever. Like they deported somebody, a woman, immediately after she gave birth. They tried to do that. They arrested her immediately after she gave birth. Stop going after these innocent people. Yeah, come after me. That's what he said. He also said very clearly this is a strategy to go full authoritarian. And as he pointed out, things were under control until you decided, let's send in the National Guard. Okay, so Trump came out and said, if officials stand in the way of law and order, yeah, they will face charges. Gavin Newsom says, inciting and provoking violence, creating mass chaos, militarizing cities, arresting opponents. These are the acts of a dictator, not a president. LA Mayor Karen Bass went on ABC 7 in LA, and she had some strong words as well. Listen to this, and also at the same time, watch what's happening on the screen here, because This is just a little taste of what I'm about to show you of what's going down in LA right now.
Well know is ICE initiated enforcement actions on several workplaces, and that created a sense of chaos and outrage and fear and terror because.
So understand what she said. The only reason we have an issue here is because you're doing mass raids on workplaces. By the way, did you know one of the people that they arrested and that they assaulted is literally the head of a union? I believe it was the leader of the SEIU. They assaulted a union leader. Mass raids at workplaces. What do they say all the time? Oh, if you're going to be in this country, you got to work hard. You got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Then a bunch of immigrants do that, and they go, no, not like that. Kick them out of the country. Fascism is what we're seeing here.
Those people are very worried as to what happened to their families. You also know that when ICE enters a city, that local officials are not notified that that is going to happen. And we are left in the lurch responding spontaneously to something that had been planned, but we were not a part of the plan.
Wow.
Mayor, we've heard a lot of talk about the National Guard coming here. We're wondering if you can give us an update on when we can expect them.
Well, I hope that they will not arrive at all. As I mentioned, I've been talking to people in the White House. I even talked to Tom Homan, who is responsible for this, and I believe that we will be able to work things out.
They did end up arriving. So Trump said, I'm going to send in the National Guard. And then basically like 12 to 15 hours later, he went on Twitter and said, or the Truth Social, and said, great job by the National Guard in Los Angeles. Well done. And at the time he said that, the National Guard was not on the ground yet.
This dude just like
But within a few hours of him saying that, then they showed up. Okay, more. Here we go. Chaotic scene outside the federal detention complex in downtown LA in the wake of ICE raids playing out throughout the day. Here we go. They're boarding up the doors. You have the protesters saying, let them stay, let them free, and you see some Palestinian flags among the protesters. So by the way, as I'm about to show you, this federal detention center where the ICE agents brought all the innocent people that they kidnapped and abducted, you had protesters form a human chain around the ICE detention center, and they were saying this: let them stay, let them free. In other words, we're not asking anymore. We're tired of you ripping apart communities, destroying families, destroying people's lives over fucking nothing. All right, more. Here we go. Protesters in Paramount, California have vandalized a U.S. Marshals Service bus during fiery demonstrations against immigration raids. So this bus, I believe the idea is that it was supposed to be used to transport these innocent people that they just kidnapped. Here we go.
Of Alondra, near where that Home Depot is, where all of this started this morning. So I'm under the impression right now that either this bus is for those agents, the Border Patrol, or it's to make arrests. Oh, it looks like the bus is moving, even though protesters are trying to stop it from moving. So we don't know if this is reinforcements, if this is to help with arrests, or to get those agents out of there. But this situation continues to just unravel here in Paramount right now. We're bringing you live pictures. This is Josh Haskell with ABC7 Eyewitness News of protesters literally trying to stop this bus with their own hands. And the bus is slowly creeping up. And it does not appear that this bus is full of, I don't know who is on this bus. I don't know if anyone is on this bus, but they are kind of trying to creep forward. And I don't see how this situation resolves without the sheriff's department getting involved or local law enforcement. It really does feel as though if these are reinforcements or for arrests, they're going to have a difficult time.
All right, more. Heavily armed Trump regime forces driven away by community resistance mid-ICE raid in Los Angeles. Scenes repeating all over the city where people are standing up to them. By the way, as I pointed out, just like a lot of the raids that I showed you and actions I've showed you from ICE, it's not just in LA and California that I'm showing you videos from. I'm also showing you from around the country. Also, same scenario here. We got a lot of these things I'm showing you are from LA or Paramount or the surrounding region, but some of this stuff is not. All right, here we go.
Yeah, there's stuff happening everywhere right now. Gee, I wonder why. It's almost like there's immigrants everywhere because America is a melting pot. Or at least that's what everybody was told. from like literally the beginning of time.
So one of the things that you'll see is, as they point out, like you have regular people attempting to basically prevent federal agents from getting to the ICE facility, right? They want the innocent people who were rounded up to be freed. I mean, look at this. There's a war zone. We're looking at a war zone. All right, more. Here we go. Protesters have surrounded the federal detention center in Los Angeles. California isn't backing down. This is a full-blown standoff with the Fed. So this is what I was alluding to before, surrounding the ICE building and basically saying, free these people.
Alana, you're taking a live look at one of the protests underway in Los Angeles just a few hours after the mass immigration raids. Chris Christie is live in there 7 with the latest. Chris.
That's right, Giovanna. It's a major protest going on about 2 hours now. Close to 1,000 people now wrapping around the detention facility between Alameda and Los Angeles Street. They started on the front steps of the federal building at 300 Los Angeles. Now that's marching down Aliso. And the lead there is that cattle truck leading the pack as they make the turn onto Alameda Street. The strategy here is to basically encircle the detention facility, which is that building right there, where we understand there are actually some people inside of the building.
Federal agents face off with protesters in Los Angeles. This video is also wild. Watch this one. They're being very lenient with the tear gas and the non-lethal rounds and the smoke grenades. As I pointed out, a friend of mine who's been a friend of the show for a very long time, he reached out to me and said he was at one of these protests in California and everybody was being perfectly peaceful in the crowd, and then the cops started shooting tear gas at them. So by the way, as you're also witnessing here, some people you're seeing are DHS, some are ICE, some are police, some are other kinds of law enforcement, like I said, National Guard now there. So you have all these different, it's a mishmash of all different kinds of law enforcement, and they're all doing different things. All right, more, here we go. This one is honestly legendary. There's this skater kid who was basically, look at this picture. I mean, just total standoff with a colossal number of, this looks like it's federal agents. This looks like it's not police, although I could be wrong. Yeah, Border Patrol agents. Okay, so watch this, man. This is wild what you're about to see here. So they're shooting at his feet, and he's taunting them, basically doing like a little dance, taunting them, going like, "Oh, I'm scared." Standing there with his skateboard. Then this happens. Now they're actually shooting him with non-lethal rounds, with tear gas. Here's his middle finger. I have no idea how he didn't fall there. I have no idea. They lit his ass up from point blank. Look at him. Casually walks away, gives them the middle finger. Then, I don't even know if this is real, because this is too perfect, right? But CBS News Los Angeles, they got an interview. I guess it's with this guy, and Here's the legendary response he gives us.
You told me you got caught up in the tear gas as well. Describe what happened to you.
Oh, just tasted a little tear gas. Tasted like fascism.
That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. All right. So this is a right-wing account that says this, that here's a left-wing protester trying to block an ICE SUV transporting people. This guy says illegals. As you all know, as I pointed out, you have, 90% of the people they're going after, no criminal record whatsoever, breaking up families. A lot of these people are completely innocent. So we have a left-wing protester trying to block an ICE SUV, and this is what happens.
We started seeing some sort of smoke to help try and keep those people from the gate here. Okay,
Look
so
right
here
here.
we are. We're in the middle of the street here.
Right here.
You can see one person trying to.
Oh,
stand
this
right
is
in
where
front
he
of this
fucking
SUV here, but he's gonna,
dude gets run over,
It's
dude.
just such a dangerous situation here, and it's really not going to do him any good to be standing there and possibly get ran over by agents. So here they are. They're on 9th Street now. Crowd is running alongside with these vehicles, and I pretty much guarantee that this SUV is not going to stop.
Here we go.
Throwing.
Watch.
Looks like,
Oh, he's down.
All right, let me widen out here. Okay, so we saw some eggs being thrown at the vehicle. Now he is just, partly ran over by the SUV. And there goes. Oh, it looks like a bicycle was also struck in the crosswalk here. Just a dangerous situation. It doesn't, not really going to prevent them from leaving. But now we have a whole other situation here.
Jesus Christ. Federal law enforcement moves in on protesters with tear gas. You can hear the reporter struggling to breathe.
If they're denying attorneys or not access, but usually I've gone to many detention centers in my practice of 40 years, but everything has changed now.
Attorney,
So it looks like this is them coming out of the ICE building.
To go on this note, thank you so much for giving us a few minutes of your time. We're going to have to move down to downtown LA. Things seem to be picking up down there. Once again, we thank you for your time. Let's get to Lauren Posen, who is down there. Lauren, what are you seeing and hearing? It's looking like things are getting chaotic.
Crowd of law enforcement coming. We have, oh my God, we have tear gas. We have fireworks going off. Tear gas is in the air. People are dispersing. I can't see anything.
Holy shit.
Jesus.
Holy shit. Breakthrough News says over 10,000 march against ICE through downtown Los Angeles, demanding an end to raids and calling for the National Guard to leave the city. It's a lot of people, man. Holy shit. National Guard deploys tear gas as pro-immigrant protesters rally against ICE in front of the detention center in downtown Los Angeles. National Guard going forward and pushing protesters back in LA.
There. There's certainly no weapons that you've seen. Oh, I see them going forward. Stay safe, Kyung.
Watch out, watch out, watch out. So they're pushing everybody into the street?
We're watching live pictures here. This is from Los Angeles, outside a Metropolitan Detention Center, where over the course of the last 2 hours, we've seen the size of the federal forces there grow. Not just National Guard troops, and that's our Kim Lau right in the middle of it. I want to make sure she stays safe and her photojournalist.
U.S. Northern Command is saying that approximately 500 active duty Marines are prepared to deploy.
I also want to ask you about some breaking news that we're just getting in. This is brand new into our newsroom, that the U.S. Northern Command is saying that approximately 500 active duty Marines are, quote, prepared to deploy. In their words, as unrest in Los Angeles continues. This is after, of course, the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, had mentioned this. Is that necessary at this point?
No, I'm going to be, not operationally, it's not necessary. There may be other reasons for it.
So you see a car on fire here. I forget what the name of the company is. It Waymo? I think it's Waymo. You had some protesters call in a Waymo ride and basically just light the vehicle on fire, right? That was one of the things that has been most prominent that's being pointed out by the right, is how some vehicles are being set on fire. You also have some rocks being thrown at law enforcement vehicles. Here we go.
Locations here today. So as we
on the highway
from the mayor, we are watching the California
being
Highway
pushed
Patrol
back,
slowly push several different locations here today. So as we await word from the mayor,
basically a line of cops and a line of protesters, and the cops are pushing back the protesters. Here we go. More
have gathered outside the federal complex in downtown LA. You can see.
That's what I did. It's a giant.
As well as the National Guard. President Trump has
gay
deployed the
butt
National Guard
crack
on the ground in LA
the best way
to try to
possible.
quell some of the protests that have been going on now Well, this is their third day.
So
Okay, bye.
now we also have, and this, you'll see, this